If your idea of family fitness involves chasing kids while holding cold coffee, you are not alone. But what if movement could be fun, connection building, and not just another thing on your to-do list? That is what I'm talking about today. Welcome to the Happy Thriving Mums podcast, the show that talks about the simple actions busy mums like you can take to prioritise your own health, happiness and fitness. And it doesn't stop there. This show also includes amazing stories from remarkable women who help others to be the best version of themselves. Because if you feel great, you thrive, and so does your family. So, if you're ready to overcome mum guilt, manage overwhelm, feel and look your best, and create a happier, more balanced life for yourself and your family, this podcast is for you. Welcome to the Happy Thriving Mums podcast. I hope you're doing okay. Well, we're in May now, aren't we? Fully in May, and things are looking up a bit, aren't they? We've come out of the hibernation of winter. We've got our sights set on the summer. Holidays are coming. We want to start feeling like we're going outside more. We're feeling healthier. We're ready for the summer. And I think we know that this is the time where quite a lot of people start to tackle their fitness. They've got fitness goals. They might want to look a certain way for going on holiday or feel a certain way for going away. And so actually fitness and the way we feel, the way we look comes a little bit more to the forefront of our minds. But have you ever thought about fitness for your whole family and the importance of being fit and healthy to live the lives you want to live? Not just you, but also your partner, your children as well. I think as parents, we know that it's really important for our children to be physically active regularly. But I think it can be a bit of a worry. Living in the digital age that we do right now, there is so much increased screen time. There is so much more emphasis on not moving, not doing things. Everything is built now for ease, for simplicity, for it to take a shorter amount of time. The actual physical movement that we do as grown-ups, because let's face it, most people's jobs involve sitting down in front of a computer, has really, really decreased. We move a lot less than previous generations. In 2022, the Health Survey for England showed us that 64% of adults and 27% of children are overweight. This is quite, I think, shocking statistics, really, because that's the majority of adults are overweight, and there's a third of children which are not quite the healthy weight that they should be. And whilst diet is most likely the cause for this, lack of physical activity, lack of movement and exercise that people take part in regularly can also be partly to blame. And I'm not here to throw shade on people and say, we've got to sort this out, we're not doing our bit. It's hard. There's so much going on, especially as a parent, as a mum. You're juggling so many plates. You may be working. You may be at home with a baby. You might have elderly parents that you need to look after. You might be caregivers in other realms. And it's really difficult to try and fit in anything else. And I completely sympathise with you. But I really, really hope by the end of this episode, you feel that it is doable to get a little bit of extra movement into your lives, and know that you will never regret it, that you will feel better for it, you will feel lighter, you will feel able to take on your day and the challenges that you face in your life. Movement, I feel, has got a sense of magic about it, and the more that we move, the more you can feel good and tackle those things which can sometimes throw you a little bit out of kilter and make things a bit more challenging. Being physically active is fundamental to our quality of life at all ages. And if we can develop healthy habits with our children at a younger age, they are more likely to stick with them for life. I know with my kids, my children are now 5 and 8, if they don't get outside every day and run around, they can become touchy. Their behaviour is different. They are definitely not as happy. Their mood is low, and they are also more likely to annoy each other, which nobody needs. I know my son in particular needs to move that a little bit more. he has this kind of like innate inbuilt feelings where he has to run, he has to kick a ball, he has to throw things around a bit. And for him, I think it's a release. It's a release of energy. Maybe it's a release of some frustrations from the day. It's probably likely hormone related. But he has this need to move. And when he's been physically active, he's generally happier. It makes him more tired, which means he sleeps better and he just feels better about himself. So it's really, really important. And actually, as a mum, for myself, as a person, I find for me, exercise does the same. It is a release. If I don't exercise regularly, I am a much more miserable version of myself. And my husband always says he really notices it if I haven't done my exercise in the morning or at some point during the day. And I feel it inside as well. I feel kind of like a little bit shaky and a little bit like, I don't know, I am less able to take on the challenges of the day. So exercising regularly has so many benefits, and I've spoken about this numerous times before. I've talked particularly about all the physical benefits, and if you want to know about these more so, listen back to episode 4, Where Do I Begin?, where I talk about where to start exercising as a parent, or episode number 5, where I also talk about the best exercise for busy mums. So in these 2 episodes, I give loads of reasons why exercise is important. But today, I'm going to be focusing on the benefits that can be found for the whole family to exercising and doing fitness activities together, as well as giving you some practical ways to incorporate more physical activity into family life. So in my opinion, one of the most important benefits of exercise and being physically active is how it can improve mood. It is a massive mood booster, and I really believe it is one of the best around. I know sometimes you might be feeling a little bit down, a little bit sad, and a biscuit or a piece of cake you think will really cheer you up. And it does in the first instance. Quite often it feels great and oh, it's so delicious. And I love cake, I love biscuits, I love chocolate. I've talked about it before. But actually, in terms of keeping that kind of good feeling, that serotonin levels, that happiness feeling for a longer amount of time, cake and biscuits only last for so long. And then we all know we can either like really enjoy it and move on, or we kind of think that we need a bit more, or actually then for some people, really sadly, they feel guilt about actually eating those things in the first place. So again, I'm not here to say don't do that, because I do it sometimes. If I'm feeling a bit low, I need a quick boost, I will have a biscuit, I will have a bit of chocolate, and it does improve my mood. But I know that for a greater boost, exercise is a thing, and it can really make you feel good for a long time after exercising. So not only that, but exercising and being physically active regularly can also improve sleep. It can be a great way to help everyone let off some steam. It can be brilliant for bonding and strengthening connections and relationships with other people. It can also give kids a positive view of movement. If they see you moving and exercising regularly, they think that must be a good thing. They do that a lot, and they might try it for themselves. I know my son, I exercise in the morning before anyone in the house wakes up, because I find it's the only time that I have where I can dedicate that to myself. So it's not ideal. I don't particularly want to be getting up early in the mornings, but it works. And it works for me, and I know it doesn't work for everybody. And that's why there are a whole different range of options to do things for yourself and where to get it into your life that fits with your life. But for me, morning exercise is a great thing. And my son wakes up fairly early and often comes down to join me. And he often sees me exercising, or he asks to do his own workout, or he asks to join in. And I know that it's this behaviour that he is seeing, and I talk to my daughter about as well, that makes him think, oh, I want to do a workout, or I want to be active, or I want to do some more exercise. And hopefully by them seeing these modelled habits will help them later on in their lives, and they know it's a good thing too. So last week, I know I spoke about setting an example for your kids, and we talked about how kids model behaviours that they see. So if they are seeing you exercise, they are much more likely to want to do it themselves. So you could then try and turn this into being active into a habit together, because it is then more likely to be seen as a normal type of behaviour. You are a physically active family. You exercise. That is just what you do. Therefore, it becomes an expectation rather than a chore, and it's easier to try and fit it into your lives. This also doesn't have to be workouts, as I was talking about with my example of what I do and what my son sees and my daughter sees. It can be anything. It can be as simple as playing catch in the garden regularly. It could be as simple as having a kick around after tea. It might be seeing you or everybody riding on their bikes to go to the shops or go and meet a friend. It's about trying to incorporate physical activity easily into your life, so it is just something that happens. It doesn't have to be a set about between this time and this time we are going to do a run or whatever it is. Try and fit it in seamlessly, which does take a bit of creativity. It can also take a bit of planning, but quite often spontaneity is the best thing for this. It might be like a lovely day outside and you say, oh, should we just go for a walk? Because actually the weather is a big one, isn't it? If the weather's great outside, you're more inclined to get outside. You're more inclined to want to do things, apart from on those steamy days when you literally just want to lie down on the floor and hope for the best. But it does make you want to get out. That's why this time of year is brilliant to try and start this kind of fitness family routines and ideas to work together. The other thing you need to think about is the ages of your children. And there are loads of different ideas for different age groups too, because what you want to do with your 5-year-olds, you probably won't want to be doing with your teenagers, or your teenagers wouldn't want to be doing that. So there's age appropriate things that you can do to try and engage your kids in being more physically active. But the most important thing is to try and make it as fun as possible. In all my years as a PE teacher, and I've taught little ones all the way up to 18-year-olds, the best thing to get kids and teenagers moving is to make the activities seem exciting, or for the older ones especially, so talking about your teenagers here, to try and get them to do stuff which they feel is quite grown up. So I know that there are gyms which, which teenagers are able to go to from 14 upwards and actually do their own workouts, use some of the machines, use the CV machines, and I would be guided by your gym and what they can do and speak to the personal trainers there, because different gyms have also got different rules as to what children and young people can and cannot use. So be guided by the facility, but they quite enjoy doing that. It makes them feel grown up. It makes them kind of replicate what they see maybe on social media from people that they're following, from TikTok. I know that quite a lot of teenagers love trying to copy the dances off of TikTok, or even Zumba or something like that. And those kind of things might be more inviting for them to do than being out in the garden and playing games with them. So there are different ideas for different age groups, and I'm going to give you a few of them here. So little ones, so I'm talking about the under 5s. Things like dance parties are a great starting place. So you could just find some high vibe music that you know your children will like, just have a little dance around the kitchen. You could get them doing animal movement games like bear crawls and crab walks, frog jumps, things like that. They find that really fun. Or even family yoga, where you kind of do little simple poses all together, like tree poses or downward dogs, and you can tell stories. For the little ones, these under 5s, things like cosmic yoga on YouTube, it's amazing for this, as is Jumpstart Johnny. I know also at school they have movement times in primary schools quite often, where they might spend 5-10 minutes a day doing certain things, where they're watching these activities on YouTube and following along, and they absolutely love them. And if you join in with your kids, they absolutely love that too, and it can be really, really fun. For school age kids, so you're kind of primary school age kids, doing things like obstacle courses in the garden or the lounge can be really fun. I know my two end up pulling cushions off the sofa quite frequently and making their own little obstacle courses. But if you join in, they love that. They find it hilarious. Or running around the garden. If you've got anything, you can use anything, cones, jumpers, make an obstacle course, give them some little tasks. Do play-based games like Simon Says, anything like that. A scavenger walk, where you could get your kids to design 10 things that they have to find on a walk, and then you go out with them, with their list of things to find. It could be like a feather, it could be an interesting stone, it could be a stick, although be careful with sticks, you won't believe it, but I took my dog for a walk the other day and I was looking for sticks to throw for her, and I saw this one and it turned out to be a snake on the towpath of the canal. So just be careful with sticks, some of them might be something else. I was shocked, I screamed, I ran and saw it slither away. It was all fine. But things like this are great for kids, especially if you've also got arty children, creative children who love to design stuff. They can be really creative making cards or checklists of the things for them to find. So school-age kids, obstacle courses, scavenger walks, even just like playing, again, catch in the garden. I love catch, one of my favourite games. And then for the slightly older ones, for your teenagers or your tweens, it can be more challenging to get them to be physically active, and it can be more challenging to get them to kind of like want to go out with you, to go for a walk or to go for a bike ride and stuff like that. It is a tricky age because they are more selective about what they want to do, what they know their own mind. They might not want to spend time doing physical activity for whatever reason, but I argue at this age it is actually crucial to try and find activities that your I was going to say children, teenagers, young people really enjoy and they will keep going back to. So maybe there is something that they've learnt at school. Maybe it's a sport that they've been doing at school, rock climbing. I know some schools have got rock climbing walls now, which is amazing. Maybe taking them rock climbing or ice skating might be something. I know there's costs involved in those, but occasionally it's obviously better than not at all. So something like that. Maybe it is going for a run, going for a bike ride, skateboarding, roller skating, whatever it is. I really feel that at this age it is so important for them to try and find an outlet. There is so much going on at school, especially from 14 upwards, because they're looking towards GCSEs, they're looking towards A-levels. There's a lot of pressure on young people in secondary schools today. And actually, to help them cope with the pressures that they are facing, sport and physical activity is an amazing outlet. It can help them improve their learning capacity as well. There's been studies to show that being physically active can help memory and things like that. But it can also act as a welcome break from revision or homework or something like that. I used it in my first school. There was a really challenging group of girls who absolutely hated PE. They really, really hated it. They didn't like the traditional games. They didn't like netball. They didn't like football. They just didn't really like anything at all. And I used to work near Richmond Park. So actually what I managed to do within their PE lessons is I got their parents to agree that I would take them to Richmond Park for their PE lesson and we would walk around Richmond Park. And it was absolutely amazing because a lot of these kids live so close to the park but had never been there before. They had never experienced like the beautiful like nature of the Isabella plantation, the trees, like the deer. Living so close, they had never done anything like that before for whatever reason that it was. So finding something which actually they would engage with, and they absolutely loved it. And I am sure that that was probably like the most exercise that they did all week for ages, but it worked. So there are things that will work. Get them to bring a friend along, something like that. The more fun and engaging you can make these activities, the better. But you also need to talk to them, get them to design it and talk to them. They know it's important, really, because they do get told this at school within their PE lessons. But it's a case of trying to keep young people engaged, particularly girls. Girls' dropout rate in PE is so... well, it's higher than boys when they reach 13, 14 and upwards. It makes me really sad because I believe there is an activity out there for everybody. It's just trying to find it. Other ideas that you could do as a whole family all together could include fitness challenges. So you could decide as a family, right, for 7 days, for 10 days, for a month, whatever it is, we are going to do a challenge. We are going to make sure that we get 10 minutes of walking done every day. We do a squat challenge, press up, whatever it is. Try and fitness challenge together. You can make it competitive. Like my kids are so competitive with each other. My son hates losing. I beat him at football the other day and he was not happy with me. But making things competitive can work, but in a fun way. It could be going hiking together, climbing some like amazing hill or mountain if you live in mountains, or along the beach, going surfing. Going out on the bikes, going and exploring somewhere new. There's also like really cool new activities which are becoming much more popular, like pickleball or going to trampoline parks. So there's those amazing inflatable parks in the water which are really fun. So just trying to do different things as a family, which involves being physically active, can have such profound effects on your health, on your fitness, on the way you feel, your mood, but also the connection within the family of having a shared experience. So doing something as well without phones and without screens, even if it's just for half an hour, can be a really, really good thing to do, because there's no distractions and you're together, and it might give you a nice opportunity to have chats that you might normally not have, or find out what's going on in their lives, because everyone's lives are busy, and if you're rushing around, you've got logistics to try and sort out all the time. Being able to actually have a conversation about something, you don't have the time. So trying to integrate this into kind of a weekly pattern maybe could be really helpful here. So as I said, sometimes there is resistance. I know often if I say to my kids, let's go out for a walk, they are not happy about it. And we're very lucky that we've got our dog, Polly, the crazy sprocker, and she is very entertaining friend to bring along on a walk. So when we say, well, we'll bring the dog, that kind of gets us out the door a lot easier. But there is resistance, I know that for sure. So ways to try and kind of get over the resistance of trying to encourage more activity could be about giving options. So would you rather go for, we're going to do something, you might say, but would you rather go out on the scooters, or would you rather play tag in the garden? Would you rather walk around the block with the dog, or would you rather do 15 minutes of football? Give some options, it gives them ownership and they're more likely to engage. Also, think about timing. Even doing something together for 5 to 10 minutes is a win. I've talked before about if you can do something for a short amount of time, it is better than no time at all. So something for 5 to 10 minutes is much better than not at all. So try and negotiate that, maybe is a good one. And as I said, fun is key. If you can make activities fun and it doesn't feel like exercise, it doesn't feel like going for a walk, jazz it up however you want, it can work much better, and everybody always feels better for doing it afterwards. So key takeaways for you to try and incorporate more fitness, more physical activity into your weekly, daily lives as a family are as follows. Number 1, come up with a family fitness challenge together that you could complete over a week or a fortnight or a month. Get everyone involved in the planning, commit to it, maybe have a prize or a family treat at the end. If you all complete it, you get to do this. That is a great idea that you could try. Another idea that you could try is to get your kids to take on the role of a PE teacher. Children are amazing at leading sports sessions. I love trying to give kids when I'm teaching leadership opportunities and teaching each other. They are so good at it. So maybe you could suggest to your children, you are a PE teacher, I want you to teach me a PE lesson. My 5-year-old loves doing this. He calls himself Coach Harry, and I have to go to Harry's football coaching school, and he teaches me loads of stuff. They love doing it. It gets them outside, and often their ideas are really creative. So that's another one you can try. And then finally, the other top takeaway I've got is I think the screen-free weekend walks, or doing something without the screens, where you all get outside, get out in nature. Could be walking somewhere, so it could be walking to a cafe where everyone gets an ice cream at the end of it. It could be going to try and explore something new. Letting the kids choose where to go can also decrease resistance, but trying to put the screens down and having some quality time, even just for 20 minutes, can allow for amazing connection. It can also give some less intimidating time to actually have a chat with your children about what is going on in their lives, which can be so interesting, because quite often the things they do at school, for example, you don't know what they're doing at school, and you might get a little nugget here and there. But if you've got no distractions and you have that extra time to engage whilst doing something like physically active, which has so many other benefits, it can really, really help. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and you've got loads of ideas now of how fitness for all is a great thing, and that family fitness can be a thing, and it can be fun, and it doesn't have to be anything complicated or hard, and that if you can encourage it, it can maybe lift everyone's spirits and help those challenges of family life at home be that little bit easier. If you've enjoyed this episode, I would love you to click follow because that helps the podcast to be found. And also, I'd love you to sign up for my Happy Thriving Mums and Radiate Fitness newsletter, where each week I give tips and ideas about how you can thrive within your life. Thanks so much for listening.